There was a time when solar-powered technologies were rare and unproven, but today the practice has been enthusiastically embraced for its ability to harness the power of the sun to create clean energy. In fact, solar power is accountable for over 20% of California's electricity, with new applications and widespread adoption growing every day. And while the potential that solar power brings is unmistakable, some hurdles must be cleared before it can evolve from the traditional solar farms and rooftop installations.
I think the adoption of solar technology in the industry is accelerating because we're now getting some real-world example of how that technology works and how it actually performs. I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there just in talking to drivers how much power can be produced, how it can be used. And once that knowledge gets out there and people understand, oh, it's different than we thought, it's more adaptable than we thought, people are jumping on, companies are jumping on. So I think that because of that, you're going to see more and more companies jump on and more owner-operators jump onto that as well, because now it's becoming mainstream and more accepted.
We sell energy. It doesn't matter which form it comes in. If there is a consumer demand for it, we want to be able to supply it. Renewable energy is a new format. It's growing. It's a growing trend. As new forms of energy are developed, we see it as very exciting.
Right now, mainly the solar is being deployed on surveillance towers around the world. They're used a lot of in Border Patrol, reconnaissance towers. And the reason for that is because it's very difficult to get fuel to a lot of those. They're off grid. So the military was very much interested in finding a source of power where you can do it in situ, where you can literally, harvest the energy you need in place. That was the biggest challenge that went down this road. We went from, needing only maybe 10 watts of energy per Marine to hundreds of watts of energy. There's just not a way to do that with fuel and batteries. And so, especially in a dispersed area. And that led us down into making these decisions that said, well, solar's probably the best you got right now to do that. And in a mobile sense, right? That you can get enough power, you got the lightweight, you've got something that can move quickly and set up quickly. And that's why solar was kind of bubbled to the top of all the other technologies that were tested at the time.
The use of solar has been very narrow in our industry. It's done well in terms of now coming to parity in terms of total cost of energy, but in terms of horizons, it is very limited in where the applications are. For solar to expand its horizons, you really need to look at 4 axes. One, it has to become a lot more rugged, a lot more lightweight, a lot more portable, and a lot more aesthetically appealing, right? And that is what the kind of innovation we did in this to expand it and make solar ubiquitous. When my team and I decided that we wanted to go after a true innovation, we decided that there were 3 parameters of consequence for us. The first was flexible, the second was rugged, and the third one was the ease of install. Looking at these 3, it became very obvious that the correct answer is peel and stick. So we needed to come up with the ability to protect the cells so that we can put them in flexible packaging. That was number 1. By protecting them this way, we needed to make them rugged so we can fold them, bend them, we can put them into the kinds of thermal cycling that nobody else can sustain. So that was number 2. And the third one, the ease of install. So instead of having to drill into roofs and other things, if we can peel and stick it onto any surface, we are there. And that's how we went about developing Merlin from scratch.
Solar has always been amongst us for decades, right? But what it has is it's always been centered around certain applications. And what Merlin technology has been able to open up is now expand the applications of where solar could be used. Where in the past, it's not thinkable that you're going to be able to put solar in a moving vehicle, for example, just because of the restrictions of safety, dependability, of being able to withstand the environment, putting solar. We're quite excited that we're now forging into innovation that's disrupting certain dogma and norm that the industry thinks, where solar is limited in its use case, where we're opening up and taking all those barriers away.
I have 440 watts of Merlin solar panels on top of the roof of my truck. These panels produce energy into my batteries. I have a battery operated APU, which is auxiliary power unit. So all the creature comforts inside of that truck when the truck is not running are operated off those batteries. That includes my microwave, that includes my refrigerator, my TV, heat, air conditioning, charging my phone. It all runs off of those batteries. And those panels make all that possible without burning diesel fuel. That's a big thing. And sleeping at night where I know that truck's not going to start itself up to recharge the batteries, I've mentioned it before, but that's a big deal. For safety reasons, that's a really big deal.
For about 44 years, this technology was frozen stiff in terms of progress. So for me, always front and center is the quality of the team. And we put together the best of the best from within Silicon Valley. So that was part one. Part two is that we truly invented our way out of this. If you take a look at how some of the countries around the world treat patents, in general, they treat them like instruction manuals to copy, right? So our patents, I would say, are Asia-proof, right? So that we truly have 56 international patents, which have been validated time and again over the last 8 years. So Merlin is truly unique out there.
The Merlin panel is very interesting to us. We came up with the concept of looking at our tanks and what we can do with them. When people think of solar panels, they think of the traditional glass panels, the big, thick, rigid ones, requiring a lot of structure. But the Merlin panel represents a great innovative solution to installing or being able to lay out panels on non-traditional structures.
The U.S. military is one of the #1 consumers of power and energy in the United States. The U.S. military burns a tremendous amount of power. And that's what's really cool, again, about working with Merlin. We're not caught up in the bureaucracy, we're caught up in solving problems, right? That's what's so really cool about it.
Merlin is the last standing company in the United States. And it's a true David versus Goliath. And I hope the US government recognizes the kind of advantage, the kind of innovation that we bring to the United States as compared to everybody in this field, although we are still a small company which is growing fast.